Up next on F4 U.S. Championship today, halfway home in the race to win the first F4 United States title. 4 drivers have a good shot, but one 16-year-old from Maryland seems to have the inside track. We'll recap the first 3 weekends of action, the highs, the lows, and the hard hits on F4 U.S. Championship today. Next. Hello and welcome to the mid-season edition of F4 U.S. Championship Today. I'm Rick Benjamin. We're at MidOhio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio, where the first 2 rounds of this brand new championship unfolded earlier this summer. It's our mid-season recap. We've run 3 weekends of racing, 9 rounds so far. We've got a pretty good sense of where the championship is headed, but we don't know. There's a lot more racing to come here in 2016. Before we get into the show, I want to let you know a little bit about this championship. Formula 4 is something brand new to the United States. First step on a ladder that could potentially lead a young driver to open-wheel championship stardom in IndyCar or to Formula 1. The cars are very simple. They're lightweight, they're purpose-built, they're built by Crawford Composites. Single-seat race cars, of course. Crawford Composites in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. The cars ride on spec Pirelli slick racing tires, and they're powered by a Honda 4-cylinder motor that's sealed, making 160 horsepower, so a pretty good combination. Fast cars for young drivers to advance out of go-karting into open-wheel championship racing. It's been an interesting season so far. We started back at the beginning of the summer here at MidOhio Sports Car Course. Let's recap that first weekend of action that saw a young driver from Poland by way of Florida be the dominator. After months of preparation, the work required to get the F4 U.S. Championship on the road started to pay off in July at MidOhio with the first of 5 weekends of racing. 3 half-hour events over the 2 days. A youngster from Florida by way of Poland was the story. Konrad Czaczyk, just out of go-karts, showing speed and consistency all weekend. In race 1, driving the leading-edge 47 car, Czaczyk lined up 5th. He bided his time and took over with 2 laps to go after making a move on Kirkwood. They ran 1-2 the rest of the way home. In the second race of the weekend, Czaczyk lined up outside pole alongside Darren Keene. An early caution for an incident involving Baltazar Lakizimo. Once the track was clear, Czaczyk took command on the restart and led the rest of the way once again, setting fast lap of the race in the bargain, and Kirkwood again came home second. In the weekend's third race, Czaczyk and Kirkwood shared the front row for that 30-minute battle. Czaczyk got a great jump off the standing start and led all the laps to complete the weekend sweep.
Yeah, I knew we had the tires to get it done, and I could see we were making steady progress. Just wanted to make sure I didn't overdo it and made sure I was there at the end when it counted. It was fantastic.
Kirkwood was strong but had to settle for second.
It's extremely frustrating, but to start off with the first race, I think we probably should have won, but we had that mechanical. Second race, we just had nothing for Konrad because he won both of those. And in the third race, I got caught up in the first lap with a few drivers. As one drove up on top of one another and I had to avoid that. So there was just not enough time to catch back up to him. But we did make some adjustments, and that was a lot better. And I think for next month, we definitely got something for Konrad.
Young Raphael Forcier took home 3rd in the season's 3rd championship round.
As much as I keep progressing, I think that's the key. We started off a little rough, I think, but as more each race I got better. So if we keep going like this, I think we can have a chance for the podium finish.
The points tally after those first 3 events: Czaczyk on top, Kirkwood was 2nd, and Cameron Das by just a point was 3rd.
The leading edge Grand Prix team has been loving the first part of this season. 3 straight races, 3 straight wins. Mark Weide is the team engineer, and Konrad Czaczyk has been your lead driver so far. 3 of those wins. I mean, you've got to be completely thrilled by the way things are going so far.
It's been a crazy week. We actually, Sunday of MidOhio, the Sunday before, we finally got the cars. We got the drivers. First time I met the drivers, first time we saw the cars. We fit the drivers. We tested Monday, Tuesday in Savannah. We drove Wednesday to MidOhio. We did an open test Thursday at MidOhio, and I had no idea where we were going to be, and we ended up winning all 3 races. It was a great show. And Konrad did a great job, and I messed him up a little bit in the first race for qualifying. I thought the tires were going to have a quick lap in him early, so we did it. We had a red flag during the session, and I just pulled him out of the car, and we went from 1st to 5th. So we had to start the first race 5th. He came through, won that race. He was 3rd fastest lap, so he started 3rd the second race, won that race, and then he had the fastest lap. So then he started pole for the 3rd race, and it was awesome.
The Formula 4 United States Championship could not have been created without the help of great commercial partners such as Honda and Honda Performance Development. HPD's president is Art St. We talked with him recently about the importance of F4 on the Honda Performance Development ladder.
It's a development series, so we thought from a strategic standpoint it's very important for us to be into that series, get kids, these are 15-year-old kids that are driving these cars, 15 plus, driving these cars, get them into Hondas early, have them learn their racecraft, and have them grow up in open wheel racing. Open wheel racing is what we like to do. It's the purest form of racing that we have here in North America, and that's why we're in that one. It's been very interesting start, right? That we have, I believe we have 19 cars running, along with a couple of schools that are looking to purchase cars, so it's taking off a lot. It's a very economical, a very competitive series that these young kids can develop into be potentially championship drivers.
When we return on this edition of F4 U.S. Championship Today, we'll meet the man in charge of SCCA Pro Racing, the sanctioning body for this championship. We'll also have full highlights of the second weekend of racing in 2016, which also took place here in MidOhio. The cast of characters changed dramatically. We'll update that for you when we continue on F4 U.S. Championship Today.
F4 U.S. Championship Today is being brought to you by Honda. The F4 United States Championship is powered by Honda and presented by Honda Performance Development. And by SCCA Pro Racing. The F4 United States Championship is accessible, developmental, safe, and fun. For more information, visit F4USChampionship.com. Find out how you can get behind the wheel.
Hi, I'm Moises de la Vara. I am 19 years old and I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico.
I'm Cameron Das. I'm 16 and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
I came to F4 because I felt it had great opportunities for me. It's a great car, great series, lots of great tracks, and I felt like it could be a great learning curve for me.
F4 has great competition, and the car is really effective at teaching me different things about car control, and also it's cost effective.
When the second weekend of racing unfolded for the F4 U.S. Championship, everyone was watching Konrad Czaczyk, who had dominated the opening weekend. Weekend number 2 of racing, though, a completely different story. Czaczyk struggled throughout the weekend, and a new young gun emerged as the guy to watch in this series. Here are the highlights.
The F4 U.S. Championship, powered by Honda, in its second weekend of action, an August trip, again to Honda's home track, MidOhio Sports Car Course. The F4 field growing by 2 cars this weekend, China's Jackie Ding and young Georgian Skylar Robinson, and they would star in Day 1 action. The story of race 1 on Friday, though, was the weather, steamy conditions, and then rain, just as the field was ready to go green. SCCA officials bringing the field to pit road to change to rain tires. A field of young drivers learning about wet weather driving the hard way. Many yellow flag laps to start this one, but once the green came out, Kyle Kirkwood took command. Kirkwood was second in all 3 races in the series opening weekend. He was relentless this day, smooth and fast, and a winner in the F4 U.S. Championship powered by Honda.
Well, I mean, this is the first time I ever ran the car in the rain with these tires, car, engine, whatever, everything. It's just new to me. And I mean, with this track, with all the black patches and everything, you can't go on those or else you're just going to spin off into the dirt or into the gravel trap. So, I mean, I was happy just to keep it on track and come away with a win.
Several cars were damaged during the wet race number 1. But by the time race 2 was ready to roll off late in the day, the track was dry, so Pirelli slicks were the right tire choice. Notably, one driver unable to answer the call, though, for the second event was Konrad Czaczyk from Florida. The racing throughout the field intense over the entire 30 minutes in round 2 of the weekend. Up front, it was a 4-car fight. It looked as if Jackie Ding, who had just joined F4 US, would uncork the winner's champagne. On the last lap, Ding bobbled, opening the door for the other first-timer, Skylar Robinson, who picked up the checkers in the weekend's second event.
I honestly have no idea how I pulled that off. I was fighting so hard. Austin was breathing down my neck like essentially the whole race, and I don't think we quite had the pace to keep up with Jackie, but I don't know what happened there at the end. He started to fall off, and I was able to, stick it down the inside of 4. So I don't know. This is probably one of my favorite wins.
On Saturday, the weekend's third race, Cameron Das, the 16-year-old, driving for JDX Racing, on pole after posting the fastest lap Friday. Das wasted no time grabbing the lead and went wire to wire for his first series victory.
I just know I had to be consistent. I had the pace. I just had to stay out in front, run my own race, and not make a mistake.
This one would finish under caution, though, after a huge tangle in the keyhole, turn 2 at MidOhio. Austin Kaszuba, Raphael Forcier, and Benjamin Peterson learning the hard way, going 3 wide into that turn, not a winning plan. Peterson on the outside paid the price, bicycling on 2 wheels but not going over. He went out though after just 5 laps. Kaszuba did rebound to finish 5th, and one of Friday's winners, Kyle Kirkwood, kept up his strong early pace, finishing 2nd to round out the weekend. The championship after 2 weekends of racing, Kirkwood taking over the lead here. Czaczyk falling to 2nd, Cameron Das next over Skylar Robinson and James Goughary Jr.
In the F4 United States Championship, there's no more important entity than the sanctioning body, SCCA Pro Racing. They take care of the cars technically, and they officiate the racing competition as well. The new president of SCCA Pro Racing is Mike Collins. We talked with him earlier.
Well, I think we've got an unbelievably fantastic opportunity to grow this series. We were a little slow to get out of the gate, but we've got over 30 chassis built. We've had 22 show up some of the races. We don't quite have that many here because some of the drivers have just gone back to school. Makes it a little difficult during that time of year. But next year we're looking at a more robust series where we've got Indy on the schedule, COTA on the schedule. Those are some serious racetracks, and it should, with the price we offer these cars and our level of competition, we see that growing, and then maybe the year after that split into an East and West Coast series and start to introduce the F3 car.
There's plenty more to come in this edition of F4 US Championship today. We've met some team principals in this mid-season recap show. We'll talk to a guy I worked with on TV years ago who was a great driver in his own right, Jeremy Dale from JDX Racing. And we'll recap the 3rd weekend of competition in the F4 US Championship from New Jersey Motorsports Park. That and more when F4 US Championship today continues.
F4 US Championship today is being brought to you by SCCA Pro Racing. Bridging the gap from karts to cars has never been easier. Make the affordable transition with Formula 4. Find out more at f4uschampionship.com. And by Replay XD, professional action cameras, the leader since 2005.
Welcome back to F4 US Championship today, our midseason recap show. The 3rd weekend of racing in the F4 US Championship's first ever season coming at New Jersey Motorsports Park down in Millville, New Jersey. And another young driver established his dominance. Cameron Das from suburban Baltimore taking over as the guy to watch in this series.
Midway point of the inaugural season for the F4 US Championship powered by Honda, and the first time the series would visit a track other than MidOhio. The 3rd series weekend of racing at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Fast and fun. Race 1 Saturday, Jackie Ding from Shenzhen, China, driving the Group A Racing 86 car, and fast qualifier Cameron Das in his JDX Racing Honda. They both got out of shape on lap 1. The door opened and one of the series' true veterans, Jim Goughary Jr. from Florida, would blast through to take the lead. His teammate Kyle Kirkwood following suit. The 2 Primus Racing drivers ran 1-2 the rest of the way, giving Goughary his first F4 US Championship win.
Oh, you know, those guys wanted to run 2x2 through the first 4 corners, and eventually it wasn't going to work. Somebody spun, all the cars got tangled to the outside. I had a clear run down the inside, and I can't say I never looked back because I was watching in my mirrors quite a bit to see where I was. But I'll tell you, I want to say that was for my parents. My dad's been in the hospital for about a month now, and it's been a long month. So see you, Dad.
In the beginning of the race, I didn't have that good of a start. I fell back actually 1 position going down into turn 1. Almost made a pass going down into turn 4. Then turn 5, it's just a bunch of mayhem. One kid spun at the apex and he went wide, and everyone took the high route, and I was already down on the inside, so I was already forced to the inside, and his car actually slid out back wide, so everyone else had to go into the grass, and it came out me and my teammate won too, so I was extremely happy with that outcome.
Das, who won the 3rd F4 US Championship race on the series' 2nd weekend of action, showed his emerging strength. He dropped to last in race number 1 after the lap 1 incident with Ding, but raced his way back to a top 5 at the Checkers. Then it was on to Sunday's doubleheader on the 2.25-mile Thunderbolt, New Jersey circuit. Young Das' star really starting to shine. The 16-year-old earned the pole for all 3 weekend races, and on Sunday he launched into the lead quickly in both rounds. He was passed just once by Moises de Vara early, but regained the lead after only 1 turn and was never headed in rounds 8 or 9. Das picking up his 2nd and 3rd F4 US Championship victories to take over the points lead.
It feels great, you know, this is a completely different track. We had no idea what we were going to do coming into it, so it's good to know that we're cooking more than one place.
Podium was identical in both Sunday races. Skylar Robinson from Georgia driving his Momentum Motorsports Honda to 3rd in both events, while Konrad Czaczyk of Florida who swept the series opening weekend, would run second twice.
Didn't have the best start, but quickly got myself back up to second, and it's pretty much where I ran for the entire race. Didn't have the best restart, but Cameron wasn't pulling away from us too much. I was running pretty consistent lap times. I'm pretty satisfied with the second place overall.
It wasn't bad. I mean, especially after yesterday where we had some big incident 5 and we also had some wing damage and stuff. So yesterday was pretty eventful. The second race today was also pretty crazy. So walked away at the podium, so it's not too bad.
Das takes over the championship points lead after 3 weekends, 9 races of the 15 that make up the inaugural F4 U.S. Championship. Czaczyk and Kirkwood next in line with Goughary and Skylar Robinson still in the hunt.
Here with one-time driver, now team owner Jeremy Dale, JDX Racing. Jeremy, your driver, Cameron Das, is leading the point standings. How'd you get to this point this season?
Well, what a path it's been. I think that the key for us was obviously in MidOhio, none of us really had our act together. The delivery of the car was a bit rushed, a bit late. We didn't get time to prepare the way we wanted to, but the car's a great little car. And we just needed some time between those first 2 rounds at MidOhio to go out, do some testing, learn about the car. And we checked a bunch of those boxes between those first 2 MidOhio rounds. And we came back to round 2 with a car that Cameron was really happy with and qualified on the pole there. He only won the 1 race, but we felt we had the pace to dominate that weekend. And I think from a pace standpoint, he was the dominant car. Came out with 1 win, which was great, and we were able to carry that to New Jersey and pull down 2 wins in New Jersey and the points lead, and we're really happy where we're at.
The engines for this series come from Honda. They're prepared and sealed by Honda Performance Development. Jeff Barrow oversees the F4 program for HPD. We talked with him at the midpoint of the 2016 season on how things are going from Honda's perspective.
Every race, the next event we go to, we see more and more spectators. I've noticed, especially today, that there's a lot more people around the podium. A lot of teams entertaining potential new customers. Several emails to answer when I get back about how the engine contract works and the chassis contract works. So really gaining some very, very valuable momentum. And, you know, the racing is fantastic. With the engine package, we're always learning. I mean, you see a small army of us around, and we're taking data from every single time we come off the track. We analyze it. You know, a lot of the kids got to learn that there's warning lights and things like that. Some hard lessons learned, but again, we're always collecting data. So we want to see these engines live for the 10,000 kilometers easy.
When we return on this edition of F4 U.S. Championship Today, the series is certified by the FIA. That's the International Motorsports governing body that oversees Formula One, the World Endurance Championship, and other titles worldwide, including the F4 Championship. We'll talk to their field representative when we continue on F4 U.S. Championship Today.
F4 U.S. Championship Today is being brought to you by Honda. The F4 United States Championship is powered by Honda and presented by Honda Performance Development.
One of the key points to consider for a young racer who wants to make it to the top levels of motorsport is whether or not to become involved with the FIA and at what time in your career. No place better than that than the F4 United States Championship powered by Honda, which is certified by the FIA. Robert Moss of the FIA came to watch some of the action recently. We caught up with him.
Well, it's really great to be here, to see everyone just being switched on and working for the F4 Championship, just being so committed to that. It's really good to see one championship following the FIA rules, so that's really nice to see. Starting a championship just from scratch is really a tough start, but it's really looking good. Everyone is committed what they are doing. Everyone is happy to be in F4, I think. So the teams just heard positive feedback. So everyone is looking to next year, where hopefully the number of cars will still increase. So that's really good.
When you're a young racer, no matter how involved you are in this sport, you do need some time away from the racetrack. A lot of our young heroes in the F4 U.S. Championship are headed back to school now, but they also have hobbies and other off-track activities that give them a lot of fuel, a lot of fire in their bellies. What do some of our young stars do when they're not racing these cars? We found out.
Oh, skiing, dirt bike riding, work, a lot of work. I'm a father, I've got 2 kids, 2 teenagers, so that's a lot of work as well. So I would have to say combination of those 3.
I like playing football and spending time with my family. I don't see them as much, so I do like spending most of my time with them.
I'm a student, so I'm always working hard in school.
I'm constantly with my friends practicing on the simulator, and I'm also a filmmaker, and I'm into photography as well.
But I love mountain biking. That's my go-to. So when I'm not doing this, I'm either mountain biking or go to the cable park quite a bit.
I love to be outdoors. I love to mountain bike, sailing. You know, during the winter we have pretty good mountains in Seattle, so we go skiing quite a bit.
I'm a really big fan of cars. I just love cars. I love working on them. I love studying them, looking up videos on them, everything, and especially driving them, obviously.
I like soccer a lot. I used to play soccer in high school, and obviously I train. And, you know, I'm a big music guy. I love, like, all types of music, so, you know, and I'm also in school as well.
I do a lot of spearfishing, actually. So that's another thing that I do almost professionally. I can free dive almost 100 feet.
Paying attention to what's going on in the rest of the racing world.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of F4 U.S. Championship Today, powered by Honda. Thanks for watching. Next time we see you, we'll recap the action from Road Atlanta, and then coming up a few weeks down the road, the season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. With the championship on the line, an opportunity for one of these young drivers to take another step in career advancement in motorsports. I'm Rick Benjamin. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage. We'll talk to you next time from Road Atlanta.